Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Reagan Sonnabend. I'm a real estate developer, small business owner, and entrepreneur. Thanks for joining. Today, I am so delighted to have my friend Jamil Damji joining. Thanks for coming, Jamil.
Happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Of course. I'm so glad you were able to carve out time. I know you've got about 5 million things going on, and so that really does mean the world. I wanted to kind of start off and, share with folks there are so many things that you could talk about personally. You have so many different areas of expertise, things that you've done, value that you can share. But what I was thinking about kind of leading up to us getting together is starting off talking about community and
hmm
really kind of how we work together. And it just, for me, it made me think about when we had a one-on-one a couple of months ago that was really powerful and validating for me, but really, especially for people that are new, how do you kind of let your guard down and really start, having these jam sessions and things like that where you can collaborate and share ideas. And of course, knowing, it's not going to all come to reality, but tell me a little bit about kind of how that works for you and how you help draw in new people to the community so we can help them move forward in their journey.
Great question, by the way, and thanks for the invitation to chat about it. Honestly, the reality about community is that without it, we are all like treading water in a sea all by ourselves.
Mm,
And it's scary and it's dangerous. And it doesn't matter if you're Michael Phelps when it comes to how well you swim. Eventually, you tired out and you're still alone. It's not fun. You can rarely go as far as you could get with other people. And so part of the reason why this community became such an attractive thing for Pace and myself to be involved in building is the reality that when him and I were first coming up, we had each other. We literally didn't have very many other people out there we could trust. And what brought him to me in our relationship and how we even met was the fact that there were people around us that were behaving poorly and were doing things that were predatory and taking advantage of people. And he could tell just based off of how I moved, and I could tell based off of my initial conversation with him that neither of us were like that. And so when you find someone, you're like, okay, well, we're the same. We care about what's just. We want to be helpful. We have an additive mentality in life, and we look at how we can be a benefit versus being a negative in someone's situation. And so with that attitude in mind, we thought, well, hey, you and I are competitors. And yet, even though we've competed this entire year, we've gone farther than we've gone previous years by helping each other, even though we're both competing with each other. We've gone way farther than we would have if we were alone. And so, right there, you learn that there's an additive effect. And it doesn't matter if you guys are going in the same direction, doing the same things, and maybe one wins this deal and the other wins that deal. When you go together, you bring things to the table that you may not need at that moment, but the other person does and can utilize. And then they do the same thing for you. And what Pace and I really learned was we could still compete in a way that gave us an opportunity to really do more. But we compete on who can be more valuable to the other. And so we'll have times where he'll say, okay, well, here, I got this podcast you can go on. I've got this stage you can talk on. And
mhm.
here's, this other introduction. And awesome. Well, Pace, here, meet this guy. He's got access to $25 million. And here's another person here that I think would be a really great individual for you to bring into your team because they're super, organized and they have this. And so we see what the other person might need because we're not in that person's forest. When you're in the
Mhm.
forest, you can't see through the trees, but
Right.
other people have vantage on what's going on in your world, unemotionally attached and from a different perspective, and they can see things that you might be missing.
Sure.
So we also act as each other's lookout, right?
Mm,
If I see that there's something coming that may not be helpful to him and I can see it in the distance, I can alert my friend and say,
mhm.
hey, there's this thing coming. You pay attention to that. And he does the same for me. And so that whole reality is what our friendship was built on. And then we went out into the world and started explaining this to people, and they thought, sounds crazy. Like, why would you do that? And what about one getting ahead and da 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 da? And okay, cool. So that happens. And then we're still way farther than we would have ever been alone. And what about all the people we get to bring along with us who don't have to question, is this person going to rob me? Is this person going to be a problem? Is this person going to be someone I'm wasting time with? When things can be vetted and you get the help of others' experience and what's going on. And even when things go wrong, which ultimately happens, right?
Right.
We don't all make the perfect step every time. I mean, Pace and I both were involved in an investment that went wrong, and we both lost money. And so that, we didn't stop ourselves from getting into trouble. But here's the thing, because we were together, we were able to turn that situation into a springboard for something that became way more valuable. And that right there is how community becomes the foundation on what your business can be built off of. And, at the end of the day, life happens. And when life is happening in a way that you need help, it's sure helpful to know that you've got people that got your back. And so the community means the world to me because I can rely on it. At my level, in my world, I still run into issues. I still have problems. I still make mistakes. And I have the community that I can turn to for assistance and guidance and also help. And that to me, no matter what, if you're in the middle of the community, if you're just joining the community, if you've been in the community for some time, it really doesn't matter where you stand in it. When you're in it, and you're supported by it. And that to me is worth everything.
You're so right. I mean, I think about even today, on a day-to-day basis, we all have whatever we're doing and we have whatever the roadblock is. And, I think I've yet to find any kind of issue that I needed help with or advice on that I've gone out in the community and, made a post or done something that there's not someone in the community that has that as their area of expertise. And it's just, it's like almost unbelievable. You're thinking, I'm talking about like a subspecialty, something that probably very few people have, but there are. I mean, it's amazing the various disciplines that are covered. And, when I think about whether you need a concrete guy or you need an excavation guy or you need an attorney, you need a physician, whatever it is, it's literally there and you get your a much better answer so quickly. It's really just amazing.
Truly. It's it's beautiful to see. And really I think the opportunity of a lifetime to be a part of it. And so I'm just grateful.
For sure. And I think for people that are newer, that was kind of where I wanted to start and what I wanted to talk about because, I know we only have a short time today, but I think that a lot of times there's that, how do I get started? What do I do? I haven't done anything yet. And I think you just have to start by, being present and making yourself vulnerable. I think until you make yourself vulnerable, the magic just doesn't happen.
I mean, that you've got to be okay with things being unknown, right? Vulnerability is, I don't know the future. I don't know what's coming. I don't know if this is right. I don't know if I'm going to make a mistake. That's being vulnerable. And the reality of anything that is new is a vulnerability. And we as human beings have this issue, right? Like when we don't know what's coming, if we don't know what's tomorrow, if we don't know what we're doing, and if it doesn't seem predictable, our biology gets all up in our uproar, right? And it's like, wait, hold on a second. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's happening. I can't predict the future. Danger, 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 danger. Everybody around, throw the chemicals of stress. We need cortisol. We need adrenaline. We need all the things to stress this person out because we're gonna die. And you're like literally sitting there debating whether you should pick up the phone and call a realtor. Meanwhile, your brain is saying to your body, we're dying. Right? And so when you're alone, it feels like you're dying. But when you're in a community of people who you watch are picking up the phone and making the call, and they're having the same biological response you're having, and they're not dying, it all of a sudden becomes, oh, I guess you don't die. Well, maybe
Hmm.
I'll try this. And then you make progress, and then that progress compounds, and then you make strides, and then that becomes a whole new opportunity, and then there you are, right? It really helps us overcome our hardwiring, in addition to using it as a way to see the example firsthand, real life in front of us, to show us that, hey, you might be taking a leap off this cliff right now, and you're like, and it's scary and all the things, but guess what? The platform you can't see is where all the people who just jumped before you are standing waving at you right now, right? And that
Yeah.
is community. That's community in a nutshell. And so, for me, I think anybody who's brand new, anyone who's just getting started, anyone who is embarking on a journey that is unknown to you, know this: you are going to have that happen, and that brain reaction is 100% inevitable. You
Hmm.
will not overcome, you will not be able to get around that. All of us, even David Goggins has those moments where
Hmm.
he's like, now what? And what does he do? He pushes through. And
Hmm.
we're not all David Goggins. We don't all have the ability to run 100-mile marathon, right?
Yeah.
But most of us, if we have the ability to see how someone else can do it, proof of concept,
Hmm.
we will do our best to try ourselves, and then we sometimes win, and sometimes we're redirected. I don't think that loss. I don't think that an outcome that is not what you were expecting is a loss. It's a
Right.
redirection, right? And
For
so
sure.
and so when we're redirected, then that's really just our opportunity to say, okay, well, I landed here pointing this way. I'm going to
Hmm.
start walking in this direction. And there you go. And you keep
You
winning,
figure it out.
keep
I think
learning.
that skill of figuring out, it's a muscle that I think has to be built up over time. But you're absolutely right. And it's the taking action and ripping the band-aid off, and all of that. It's like you have to just take action. I'm definitely a proponent of that, because until you do, nothing happens. And there's too many people that get stuck in a year and a year and a half later, they haven't actually done anything yet. It's like it's better to make a mistake and figure it out and learn a lesson, in my opinion, than to do nothing.
100% agree. And that's why you're on the podcast right now, and why I'm here, being a guest of yours, and hopefully anyone watching this that's in that stage right before they take a leap, and right before they make the move of their life, where they're going to take that risk and do the thing. You're going to end up in the best position in your life, win or lose, because everything in the world has a reaction. It's law. Every action has an
Hmm.
equal and opposite reaction. And so if you put energy towards your dreams, towards your betterment, it cannot not find you back. It may not find you back in the way that you're thinking about it, like, oh, I'm going to make this many phone calls and talk to this many people, and you think that your blessing and your win needs to come from that. No, maybe that uncovers something else and your blessing comes around the back door, but anything that you put out there finds you anyway. So do it. Do the thing. You will find the benefit. It will find you. You just have to take action.
It's so funny when you were saying that just now. I was thinking, it's funny and ironic. I've dealt with at properties over the last few years different and opposite water issues. I've dealt with too much water and I've dealt with not enough water. And that's what I'm dealing with right now, is a too much water issue. And that analogy that you were making made me think of a stream or a river. Like it's not going to go straight from point A to point B, but it's going to find where it needs to go. And there's all these different factors that impact that. And the path, you don't know what it looks like until it gets there.
That's just it. That's the joy. Like, we're how boring would it be if your movie and my movie, if our life was a movie, if they were the same?
Yep.
Like, how boring would that be? No one would want to watch it. They'd watch one of ours and they'd say, okay, well, I get the other one. I don't need to watch that one. And so
Hmm.
maybe we're both like embarking on the same journey, right? but
Yep.
your journey is going to be very different than my journey is going to be, and we're going to go through different things, and maybe you'll get to one place a little later than I did, and maybe I'll get to a place a little later than you. And when I tell my story, you'll say, "Oh, I remember that from his story. I'm in that
Mhm.
position right now. I'm going to do that." And so we're literally just giving each other guide and giving each other breadcrumbs along the way, because it's a game and we're having fun, and if you're forgetting to have fun, then you miss the point.
For sure. Such great wisdom. I know, Jamil, with all that you've done and all of your vision and all of those things, you could give an entire day workshop. So I know we only have a few minutes, but hopefully that's, this message is helping someone that's in a certain place right now, that that's what they needed to hear. Where can people find you online?
I'm available everywhere. I'm on YouTube at Jamil Damji, just youtube.com/Jamil Damji. You can find me on Instagram at JDAMJI. I'm on Facebook for some of you Gen Xers or older. I'm on Facebook. You can, yeah, reach out to me on social media. I'm super available. I'm, not one of those people that puts up, a bunch of guardrails that, of course I get a lot of messages, so don't be upset if it takes me a minute to respond, but I do my best to respond. But yeah, I'm an active real estate investor. I'm involved in the world of co-living. Of course, I'm known for building and founding Keegley. I recently exited that company, and so my full-time focus isn't wholesaling anymore, but I became one of the nation's most reputable wholesalers, and that has been a great foundation for my world in affordable housing. And I'm really grateful that I had the opportunity to learn about wholesaling and for it to become where I find my deals, and how I've met so many beautiful investors. And now it's giving me the foundation to be able to really make an impact in affordable housing, where I'm putting the majority of my focus these days.
Inspired work for sure. And as you know, I'm interested in that myself, and so many ways of overlapping with that. So that will be another topic for another day, I suppose. But I'll make sure and include links of where people can learn about all of that. Again, thank you so much for making time.
Of
And everyone,
course.
I hope you learned a few things along the way today.
Thank you, Reagan.